Welcome to This Week in East Brunswick. Today we honor our armed forces as we have coverage from the Township Veterans Day Observance and a special lunch the Senior Center held recognizing their own members who have served. East Brunswick Public Library held a special educational and entertaining program that brought exotic animals into the library. And we visit East Brunswick High School, where the girls' field hockey team recently held Senior Day. All this plus Mayor Cohn speaks with attorney Daniel Kirshner, one of the many professionals taking part in the Shop East Brunswick Property Tax Rebate Program. So stay with us. This Week in East Brunswick starts now. East Brunswick Township held the annual Veterans Day Observance at the East Brunswick Senior Center, as a standing room only crowd filled the room to pay their respects to the brave men and women of our armed forces. EBTV will televise the ceremony in its entirety through December 3rd on Saturdays at noon, Sundays at 4 p.m., and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. It is also available as video on demand at www.ebtv.org.
When I was a medical student about 30 years ago now, I hate to admit that, one of the hospitals that we had to rotate through, and part of the training is that you have to go through different hospitals, and so clinics were taught you one sort of people and sorts of circumstances that you would have to deal with, and the women's center where I learned the obstetrics and gynecology. But the hospital that I actually remember the most was the East Orange VA. But there was a lot of lessons that I got when the rounds were over and you actually went back and you started to talk to a lot of the vets who were there. And it wasn't just their medical problems that you learned a lot from. You learned a lot from talking to them about their life experiences and the things that they saw as important in their life, why they served, what happened when they served. All of their stories were different and unique and important and valuable. But you learned a lot out of that. And what you learned a lot out of, and the things that I got from each of these vets in a more of a collective way, was that the sheer courage. You learned about honor. You learned about valor and dignity and humility. And you learned that everything that they did in their lives, really they did for unselfish purposes. They really just wanted to make sure that they were doing their part to ensure that each of us has the best life possible and the ability to enjoy those freedoms that we take for granted on a daily basis, those things that I never had to fight for because it just wasn't the time when America was at war, and I was lucky. But I have to learn to, and we all need to learn to value our safety and our freedom and our security, because it is not free. And it isn't something that you could just say. You have to prove that with your actions, because words are kind of cheap. They feel good for the moment, but what really matters at the end of the day, what the vets really want, is just appreciation, and for you to show in your actions what you really mean when you say thank you for your service.
I'm very honored and equally as humbled to be here today to honor our local hero, World War II veteran and Purple Heart recipient, Mr. Joseph Marchese. Mr. Marchese, who is a lifelong resident of New Jersey, was born in Newark and has been a resident of East Brunswick with his lovely wife, Teresa, for the past 63 years. In 1943, Mr. Marchese, who was 19 years old, was drafted to serve in the United States Army and started basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey. After his introduction to life in the Army, also known to us vets as basic training, he was sent to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to start his advanced artillery training on a 105 howitzer. After his training and promotion to Corporal 5th grade, Mr. Marchese boarded a ship and was deployed to Wales in the United Kingdom. His unit joined the U.S. invasion group and began preparation for a day we're all very familiar with, D-Day, the invasion of Europe to end the war. Corporal Marchese's job as part of the invasion force was that of an enemy artillery observer, which meant he was the one that spotted and called in enemy artillery locations for return fire. He was a member of Platoon B, 13th Field Artillery Observation Battalion, also known as the Flash Platoon, which operated at night and called in the enemy positions based on seeing the flashes of enemy gunfire at night. Corporal Marchese's unit was engaged in 5 different battles after they landed at Normandy. It was during one of the last battles in the Hürtgen Forest in Germany that Mr. Marchese was wounded by incoming enemy mortar fire. Screaming Mimis, as they were called, because of the sound the incoming fire made, shrapnel, some of which remains in Mr. Marchese's body today, and debris from up in a tree where the incoming blast had occurred, wounded Mr. Marchese in his back and on his side. Unfortunately, his buddy Claude, right next to him in a foxhole, didn't make it. Corporal Marchese's first stop after being wounded was at the aid station, where he had the option to be moved from the aid station to the hospital to have the shrapnel removed. This move would have required surgery and involved a longer hospital stay. This ultimately would have resulted in him losing his unit because of being reassigned after recovery, because the war and the troops move on. Corporal Marchese chose the option to be patched up so he could return to his unit after only 5 days, where he remained with his brothers for the rest of his deployment and the end of the war.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with gold. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Hi, I'm Sharon Riley Morosi, Assistant Director for the East Brunswick Department on Aging, and this is the Voice of Experience. I am at the Senior Center today at our 8th annual Veterans Day celebration luncheon. Each year we celebrate veterans from our community, and they come and be guests for a luncheon. We had the pleasure of Bill Marone, who came today. He volunteered his time to play the guitar and sing and lead us in a sing-along. And many of the veterans brought memorabilia from their time of service and displayed it for all to see. This is our way of saying thank you and showing our appreciation to veterans who have served our great country. If you would like more information about programs and services available through the East Brunswick Department on Aging and Senior Center, then please call us at 732-390-6896. And please remember, the East Brunswick Department on Aging is here to help you and yours age successfully.
The East Brunswick Public Library hosted Eyes of the Wild, a rescue for exotic animals, as they held an entertaining and educational program for children.
We have a farm in Hunterdon County outside of Stockton. We have a 21-acre farm where all of our animals live. Our rescue is funded by going out and trying to teach kids about our natural world through live animals that we acquire most of the time from people who tried to get it as a pet and had it not work out, or sometimes something someone might have been mean to and got in trouble for one reason or another. And then we come out and try to show each animal individually and tell the kids some funny, interesting facts about them, try to make it interesting through humor. This first one, it's a full-grown elephant in this box. Oh, you don't believe me? Listen. That's an elephant, right? Was it me? You guys are too smart. You know an elephant can't fit in this box. It's a giraffe. Okay, I'm gonna start with something small. So I had this little guy, he's a chinchilla. We had a sulcata tortoise. The sound in the back is a Vietnamese potbelly pig. And we had a prehensile tail porcupine and a wallaby and a sugar glider. I've been in love with nature and wildlife my whole life. I was a field biologist when I graduated college. That's what I really thought I wanted to do. I used to study rattlesnakes and pine snakes in the Pine Barrens in southern New Jersey, and it actually was pretty boring because snakes don't move a lot. So it wasn't the most exciting species to study. And I learned what I liked was really teaching about what I was doing. So I went back to get certified to teach, and I started working for a person who did rescue part-time, and one thing led to another, and it became full-time for me. And people started wanting to bring us other things, like specifically mammals. We originally had started working mainly with reptiles. So the mammal part and birds kind of became my area. And so I've been doing this now for about 12 years on my own. I've been doing educational programs now for about 17. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I get to play with kids and animals all day. And you know, coming into a group and getting the kids to smile and have fun and at the same time try to provide an educational experience. It's challenging, but it's really great. It's the best way for kids to learn is if you make them laugh, you really then can give them information. And so then they just absorb that and they take it in. It's fun to see. Well, the biggest thing is you definitely want kids to care about our environment and the animals that we share the planet with. It's a very fine line that I get nervous about a lot. We're such a consumer culture that we train kids to think, if I think something's cool, the next thought I'm supposed to have is I have to own it. And so we stand and try to tell each story of why this animal is amazing, but not something that belongs in your home. And try to relate it that way as much as possible and describe to them why they should share a place with us on this planet and have as much right to it as we do. But again, we try, especially with younger kids, we don't try to hit them over the head with hard environmental messages. It's more subtle, more about certain specific stories in an animal. You know, like chinchillas are an endangered species in the wild because people have turned them into fur coats. It takes between 150 to 200 of these to make one coat. And that's the only reason they're endangered. So a lot of times I'll tell kids, we're the most dangerous animal on the planet, and this is a good example. Well, the great thing about the library, a lot of times I'll end my program, I'll tell the kids, you know, the stuff that I'm telling you, I've learned in a building just like this. And I'll also tell them, you know, you see these guys, chinchillas specifically, or other things we have in the pet store sometimes. It doesn't mean that it makes a great pet. And I'll ask the kids, I said, where's the first place you need to go when you want to get a pet? And they always say, the pet store. And I said, no, that's where the journey ends, maybe. Not ideally always, but it starts very close to where you're sitting, in the library. You got to do research. You got to learn about how to care for your pets, and it's a perfect place to do it. Libraries are great in that they provide this free access to that kind of information that the internet really doesn't always have. You know, I tell kids internet is a great way to start research, but not everybody's fact-checking every site you go to on the internet. So in the library, in the nonfiction section, you're going to get edited material that somebody has gone over. And so it's a really good place to learn. And for us, everybody who comes to this event has chosen to be here. You know, if I go to a child's birthday, maybe one person was like, oh, that's a great idea. But all the other kids that are there, they might just want to be doing something else. But at the library, all these people chose to come here today to see something. So you can work a message a little better to a group like that. It generates other interests. You know, when someone comes to a free event at the library, I think a lot of times they leave going, oh, that was great. I'd like to have that at my school or whatever. And that's how we're funded, is by doing the ed program. So every bit helps. Our website is just eyeswild.com, and it's a good place to start. And yeah, we try to, I tell the kids too, a lot of times we hand out little baseball cards that have our website, and if they have questions, they can go and write to us. And we also do, if people need advice with pets or things like that, or if you have someone you know who's looking for a home for something exotic. We don't do dogs and cats because there are people who specialize in that. We tend to deal with the things that really a lot of people don't know what to do with. So we tell people to reach us if they need help with that.
So you can call this a turtle, no one will yell at you, but the more appropriate name for it is a tortoise. And actually there's 3 names for these guys that have shells. There are turtles, tortoises, and terrapins. Very good. So true turtles are the guys that swim in the ocean, and they have flippers. Their legs look like big flippers. They're good at swimming. They're like the guy Crush from Finding Nemo. You know, the guy's like, whoa, dude. That's a true turtle, okay? The ones we see in ponds around here, most of them we should be calling them terrapins. And it's because terrapins' legs are a little different. They have bent legs, and they walk on their feet like this when they move. Now, a tortoise walks on its toes. When she moves, she kind of walks up on her tippy toes. And that's really the major difference between them. It's about how their legs look, work, and move them, okay?
The East Brunswick High School field hockey team recently celebrated senior night before a home game against rival Monroe Falcons. The senior student athletes were recognized at an on-field ceremony before the game. Now let's check out some of the highlights and meet the seniors.
We're here today with Daniel Kirshner. He's the owner of his own law practice right here in East Brunswick. We're here again looking to spotlight those individuals who have been part of our Shop East Brunswick program, and especially those that were the first to sign on. So before we get started, I wanted to thank you for being part of our program and being one of the first to sign on. As most residents know or should know already, the Shop East Brunswick program is a rewards program that we have sponsored here in the township, where for shopping in local stores, local merchants, local professionals, you obtain a little bit of a discount. That discount accumulates, and at the end of the year, whatever that total was gets sent directly over to the township tax office and can be used for tax relief for individuals that don't live in our town, and individuals who rent and therefore don't pay property taxes to East Brunswick. Their accumulated savings gets sent back to them in the form of a rebate check. And so that's a program that we hopefully will use to incentivize people to shop and frequent our merchants and professionals in town. And so you were one of the first people, and I wanted to publicly thank you for having done that. It was nice.
My pleasure.
Could you speak a little bit about your practice, where you're located, hours, and maybe a little bit about any particular area of law that you concentrate on?
I'm a sole practitioner. I have a practice here in East Brunswick. I'm located right on the highway. It's at 199 Route 18. I'm in the southbound lanes, just south of Exit 9 of the Turnpike. I practice several areas, but the primary area that I practice in is trademark work. So I do trademark and intellectual property work, but I also do some real estate closings and things like that. So those are the two areas that I primarily focus on. I'm in the office generally most days, Monday through Friday, business hours, usually about 8 to 4.
Okay. One of the great features to your location, obviously, is the proximity to the major corridor, which is Route 18. Most individuals and most businesses actually like the fact that there's such a large volume of traffic going up and down that highway. We've clocked that at close to 100,000 cars a day, which provides for merchants and for professionals great exposure. But I know that beyond just practicing law and being involved in the township from the business point of view, you actually live here yourself.
I do. I live in East Brunswick.
And might want to comment a little bit about this program and in the sense of how you see a value to it, being a resident too.
I do live in East Brunswick. I have a family here in East Brunswick. My wife, my daughter, who's 13, and I live here in East Brunswick. Obviously, I'd love for this program to drive some business to my business, but I'm also excited about the opportunity to save a little bit on the property taxes.
Right.
So whatever I can get back at the end of the year by way of property taxes, I would love that. So, although the property taxes, I must say, are a little bit high in East Brunswick, I feel like I've gotten some value in the sense that my daughter's getting a fantastic education here in the township.
Part of the idea of putting a program like this together is to make residents aware that that we have these businesses here. We want to keep them here. We want to keep our merchants and professionals in town, and we want to encourage more to move here and to open up shop here as a vibrant community that it is. And I believe in my heart that the core of a community involves its residents, its businesses, its schools, its government. They all have to work together as a team for the betterment. And I remember growing up, you probably do also, that you go to the baseball games or you would go to any function that was going on in town, and invariably you were wearing shirts or being promotions from the small businesses, and that was what still sits in the back of my mind as defining what a community is. And so that's why it's so important to me that we bring these type of programs together and provide that type of link for individuals to get back to that hometown feeling that we often miss as we've become so technical and everything gets done on computers. We don't interact, and to me that's really the community. But on behalf of our community and on behalf of this program, again, I want to thank you for being one of the first people to sign on. It means a lot to us, and I certainly hope that it's going to be both rewarding to yourself as a merchant and as a resident here in the township.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Riti Behwani.
And I'm Devjani Banerjee.
And we are part of ICS Theatre. We are very excited to share with you that Agrat Seva Kendra is bringing an ICS Theatre production, Theatrically Yours, to East Brunswick on Sunday, November 19th at 4 p.m. This event will be held at Joanne Magistro Performing Arts Center in Hammersholt Middle School in East Brunswick, and has been made possible in part by Middlesex County Board of Chosen Freeholders through a grant from the New Jersey State Council on Arts.
After a number of well-received full-scale productions, ICS Theatre brings to you an exploration of the unique and individual talents of its actors in what is sure to make a memorable evening. Theatrically Yours features a series of 10-minute plays, monologues, and other performance vignettes to create an interesting evening of unique and original theatre. The performance will be followed by a reception and a question and answer session with our director and cast. This production has been directed by Dr. Farley Richmond. Dr. Richmond is the professor and director of the Center for Asian Studies at the University of Georgia. He teaches courses in Asian theatre with an emphasis in Indian drama. We have been very fortunate to have worked with him on quite a few productions before as well.
A little about ICS Theatre. ICS Theatre is part of ICS of East Brunswick. It's a not-for-profit organization that was established in 1999. ICS Theatre was established only 3 years ago. We have already staged several successful productions, from classics like Molière's Tartuffe to one-act plays, It's About Time. Our plays have been staged at several prestigious theatre festivals like the South Asian Theatre Festival in New Jersey and Ohio.
Tickets for Theatrically Yours can be purchased on our events page on our website www.indianculturalsociety.com. Click on the events page from our homepage and you will find the flyer and ticket link. You can also follow us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/ICS Theatre and stay up to date with our calendar. Theatrically Yours is open to all. Tickets are $15 for adults and students pay only $10 with their student ID. It is sure to be quite a unique theatre experience for the audience. So why wait? Get your tickets today. Seating begins at 4 p.m. on Sunday, November 19th at Hammersholt Middle School right here in East Brunswick. If you have questions, do email us at icstheatrenj@gmail.com. We hope you come and enjoy our show, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you.